Hey friends, what's up? My name is Joss from squibblesreads. This past week, Brittany from Under the Radar Books, Lauren from Lauren in the Books, and Kristen from Vienna Waits Books hosted a readathon called Genrethon, where the only stipulations were to read at least 3 books and read at least 3 genres. We did talk a little bit about the books that we read as well as our experiences as hosts in the live show from yesterday, so that is on Brittany's channel and I will leave a link in the down bar below. In terms of the books that I read, I did stray pretty far from my TBR. I only finished 1.5 books on my TBR, but I did read at least 3 books in at least 3 genres. I finished 6 and I made progress in another 2. The 0.5 book that I made progress in that was on my TBR was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I am reading this with Sarah from Books for Tea. She is a lovely Bookstagram account and she's also here on BookTube, so I'll leave a link to both of those in the down bar below. If you've not heard about The Night Circus, it is about these 2 dueling magicians who are involved with the circus that magically appears in town. Kristen actually told me yesterday that Erin Morgenstern herself is an artist and you can totally tell from the way that she writes. In terms of plot movement, it is moving slower than the average book, but it literally is like watching a show. The writing is entrancing and every sense is evoked, including smell, taste, and touch, not just sights and sounds. Like I said, I am about halfway, but I have a feeling that I will be giving this one a very high rating and I'll talk more about it in my April wrap-up. I finished another book during Genrethon, and I think that if you liked The Night Circus, you will really love this one too. It's called The Weight of Feathers by Anna Marie McLemore. It's about 2 traveling performing acts that are kind of circus-like, and each of these acts belongs to a rival family. We have Lace, our female protagonist, and she is part of one of these rivaling families. They're called the Palomas, and they are Latino. Then we have our male protagonist. His name is Cluck. He's part of the other rival family, the Corbeaux, and they are French. The Palomas and the Corbeaux have some long-standing, deep-seated family drama, but one day Lace gets in trouble and Cluck comes to save her. We see the influence of the traveling performer life, and there are a lot of French and Spanish words infused in the dialogue amongst this family drama. It reminds me a lot of The Night Circus, except there's more mystery surrounding the drama of the family rivalry. It's more Romeo and Juliet-esque, and it is YA and a shorter book. Overall, I really loved it and I gave it 4.5 stars. The next book I made progress in is Jane Steele by Litsy. If I had to classify this in a genre, I'd call it some combination of case study, mystery, and historical fiction. Y'all know I am not one to do individual book reviews, but I think Jane Steele will be my next one. So I won't talk too much about it here, but basically it's loosely tied to Jane Eyre, but definitely its own story as well. It's written in a Bronte-like fashion, except it is more incisive and it's more sharp and has more sass. Jane Steele is basically a serial killer, but she considers herself somewhat of a vigilante and a hero because she only kills people who have committed terrible crimes in her eyes against women. I don't want it to end. During Genrethon, I went from about 40 to 70% of the way through, and I'll definitely be posting my review shortly. I also finished The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty, which is in the genre of commercial fiction. It's about a woman named Cecilia who finds a letter addressed to her from her husband that instructs her to not open it until he has passed away. We also meet 2 other women, and we don't really find out how their lives are interwoven until later on in the story. One of these mysteries that I think was integral to plot and character arcs was revealed about a third of the way through, which made it seem unbalanced, and thus the middle third kind of seemed like a filler. There wasn't really any advancement in plot in that middle third, however, it was fun and easy to consume, so I gave it 3.5 stars. I also read a short story collection called The Unfinished World by Amber Sparks, which, if you remember, was in my last haul. It involves some magical realism and horror elements, but also some contemporary themes. This next thing that I'm going to say 100% does not mean how it sounds, but I wish that I had stopped after the 5th page. By this, I mean that the first 5-page short story hit me harder than probably the past 8 to 10 books that I've read. I had to take a break after reading it, and my heart was in my throat. I haven't had a reaction like that since chapter 8 of Burial Rites. However, as I continued on, like in any short story collection, there were some that resonated with me more and some that resonated with me less. Overall, I think it is the strongest collection that I have read thus far, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The book in the thriller genre that I picked is called Missing Pieces by Heather Gudenkoff. It's about a woman named Sarah Quinlan who is married to a guy named Jack. Jack's mother passed away a long time ago under suspicious circumstances, and at the beginning of the book, his aunt also dies from suspicious circumstances, so he is sent back to his hometown and his family secrets unravel. The reader has to try and figure out what these family secrets are and how these two women died. Unfortunately, I did see the ending coming from miles away, and the writing was very simple and just okay, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. My next read is probably my favorite read of Genrethon, and it is Eleanor by Jason Gurley in the genre of literary fiction with some magical realism elements. It's really hard to explain without giving anything away, but it's about 2 women named Eleanor who are from the same family. The book spans about 30 years and we get to meet both Eleanors. Unfortunately, there is a tragic and a sad death which cracks the foundation of the family. We start to see the magical realism elements surrounding these ideas. The writing was top-notch, it was so fine-tuned and captured the little intricacies of these characters' lives. This made it an extremely moving portrayal of grief and trauma, so I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. This last book, I will warn you before I talk about it, it is an extremely hyped book and I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm honestly really sad that it didn't resonate with me more, and this book is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, in the genre of YA historical fiction. Before I discuss it, I will say that Sepetys did an amazing job with this topic, obviously making a really hard impact on so many people, but more importantly bringing the Soviet occupation of Lithuania to light, which is not a topic that is studied or taught in school. So in the book we follow a 15-year-old Lithuanian girl named Lena, and the year is 1941. They travel in awful conditions to Siberia, and it is so sad. What I did not get along with is the writing style, and again, this is entirely my opinion. I enjoy writing that I can chew on, that is lyrical and evocative, but I found this to be the opposite. The sentence structure was very simple and not varied. Like, it was really often noun, verb, prepositional phrase, period. As well, each chapter was extremely short, about 3 pages or so, and at the end of a lot of the chapters, there was 1 page of flashback scenes, which I liked, but again, I couldn't sink my teeth into it. After reading Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, which is also historical fiction, and written in a style that is more congruent with what I prefer and being hit so hard by it, this really did not live up to my expectations, so I gave it 3.5 stars. Okay, so that is it for my Genrethon wrap-up. We had way more people participating in this than we had ever anticipated. We literally thought that it would be just the 4 of us reading, so we cannot thank you enough. We actually have had a lot of people asking us to bring it back or to do it even biannually, so we are talking about that and it is all in the works. Definitely go and check out our live show. It was a pleasure and honor to be your Genrethon host this time around. Please leave me a comment with your experience or anything else that you want to say. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!